Good morning, people, or afternoon, or night, depending on where you're at. Uh, so this is Crypto Top 10. I decided to start this up because, well, quite frankly, I want to learn more about this crypto space, and I figured, I'll take other people on the journey with me as well, if that's what they want. This is my first time trying to do anything of this sort, so if you hear some things you don't like or things you think I could do better, feel free to leave me a comment. I might read it. Things I need to adjust and stuff like that, especially these first few videos. It's my first time ever doing anything like this, so start things off. I've selected 10, that's right, 10 news articles, plus a bonus one that just made me laugh this morning. Uh, Big stories that happened past week here in the crypto world. So, why make you wait? Let's get into things. Alrighty, so this is Joseph Young Guy over on Cointelegraph. Posted up this lovely article about the three main reasons Bitcoin's price plummeted 14%. Happened this week, and quite honestly, it was pretty crazy. Bitcoin finally got over 10,000, and it stayed there for a little bit. But then it contracted. And he gives three reasons. A lot of other articles also gave these reasons, which is why I included this one. But there's a fourth reason I also kind of wanted to get into after this. So, first up, Bitcoin was kind of overdue for it. You know, there was a lot of people holding these long positions on the market due to the fact that they have to pay a fee for the long contract or short contract. That when it dropped, it liquidated a bunch of positions. It was right here. A signal that something was amiss was the fact that prior to the price drop, Bitcoin's funding rate was too high, and around 75% of the market was holding long contracts. Realistically, you kind of want to keep it closer to a balance of 50-50, and when it starts shifting one way or the other, that's when interesting things can happen. And it looks like $120 million worth of long contracts got kicked to the curb, which is not great for those people. But no, stock market or the cryptocurrency market is at this point gambling. You can paint it up with your TA and all that other stuff, but it's gambling. And then there's the fact that, well, oh man, $10,000 is mentally huge for Bitcoin. I don't know how knowledgeable you guys are, but we've clipped 10,000 like 3 or 4 times this year. And really, when it finally clipped it and stayed above it in 2017 is when that real big bull run finally happened. It's the third time Bitcoin's tested it in the last 3 quarters, and it's the third time we've gotten kicked back. Now, personally, I think short term, Bitcoin's going to fluctuate, but long term, we're post-halving, and as you'll see in a lot of these other articles, the future's looking pretty bright for Bitcoin, in my opinion. And then whales. Oh, the big boys. They moved their stuff around, and it scared us little people, and we all freaked out. I personally dislike this reasoning. I know that the whales moving things can scare some people away, but these large swings like this, I don't know. I know you can post, these large fake sell orders, and that can freak people out. Oh my God, someone's selling 5,000 Bitcoin for $3,000. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's not. There's no way it's going to get down to 3,000. Hell, if they're selling it for 3,000, in my opinion, put a buy order in for 3,000 and try to grab some. But those types of things never actually happen. Those positions never actually get bought. They're not real. It's blatant market manipulation. And the fourth reason, which isn't on here, and I think should be talked about, is the larger exchanges like BitMEX and Coinbase. Now, I have Coinbase. I've had them since 2014, 2015. I'm not a whale by any means. I sold pretty much all the Bitcoin I bought when it was in the price range that it was at in 2014. Got me a set of tires for my vehicle. Muy bueno back then, but I'm kicking myself right now. But yeah, no, Coinbase. I tried logging in was over 10,000 because I use that site. I kind of follow along with the cryptos that I have, and I couldn't get in. Apparently, the same thing was happening on this BitMEX exchange as well. People couldn't get in. They couldn't get in to buy. They couldn't get in to sell. And this consistently happens when there are large price fluctuations with Bitcoin, particularly on Coinbase and BitMEX. And a lot of people around the cryptocurrency space are starting to now kind of say that, hey, this is too much. This isn't happening like every now and then. It's every time there's an issue going on. Something doesn't add up. So that's something I would be very wary of. I know Coinbase is the easiest way in the US to get cryptocurrency converted back to cash for people who are trying to cash out. But obviously, keep an eye on things and know going in that if there's a large price swing, you might not be able to access Coinbase in that moment. So if there's another place where you can get your crypto to fiat, my advice is when you want to switch, don't sell, convert it to a stable coin, and then worry about getting that stable coin, ideally, USDC, which Coinbase supports, and then when the craziness has died down, you can send that USDC to Coinbase and then cash out. My advice, but everyone do your own thing, please. Alrighty. Excuse me. This next one is again about Bitcoin, talking about its post-halving performance. After the last two, they try to compare things, which usage is very different. The market is very different. The world is very different than it was in 2012 and even 2016. It's insane how much has changed in the past 4 years. Obviously, they denote these things in pounds because it's a British site. What fun. But even though it's slid a little since this last halving, it's still up 14.7% since then. Now, personally, I think that some of that is just it returning to the level where it should be. I personally thought Bitcoin should be valued around about 8,000 pre-halving, and obviously we dipped down into the 3,000s at one point this year. So in my opinion, Bitcoin was very undervalued, and I bought up as much as I could at 3,000 because I firmly believed that it would rise back to 8, and I'm glad to see that I was right. And by all the Bitcoin I could, I mean like a quarter. I am not a rich man by any means, so don't think I'm, just doing this for funsies. I really do hope and believe that Bitcoin will take me to a point where, one, I'll be confident that I can retire or possibly be able to retire early so I can spend more time with my family. But yeah, so while last month saw Bitcoin's third halving since its inception, it is the first time it has taken place since the cryptocurrency became a household name. True, Bitcoin really hit the mainstream 2017. So, Bitcoin can be mined about every 10 minutes, and it's very energy intensive. Population of Switzerland, energy usage. What fun. So, after the previous halving events, 0.7% in 2012 and 8.5% in 2016. So things are going pretty darn well, considering we were at 14.7 when this article was published. So for those of you frustrated or freaking out because Bitcoin's been trading sideways with brief spikes, slamming back down, but staying in this $8,000 to $10,000 price range, don't worry, because Bloomberg's on the case. Oh, yeah. Bloomberg expects Bitcoin to double to $20,000, and something needs to go really wrong for it not to. Good. I hope they're right. And actually, no, I hope they're wrong. I hope it goes to 40,000. But the same forces that are pushing gold higher also support Bitcoin. And the coronavirus is accelerating its maturity relative to the stock market. Bloomberg is arguing against Goldman Sachs, which Boo, Goldman Sachs. All these big places are saying, don't invest, don't invest, don't invest. I bank with Chase. I can't buy cryptocurrency with my credit card because Chase blocks those transactions from Coinbase. Coinbase, a large established cryptocurrency company. Nope, you can't buy crypto with credit. I don't understand why. I have more enough money in my savings account that I can pay off my balance. Personally, I keep my maximum credit card balance at a level that I could pay it. If I maxed it out, I could pay the entire thing off in 1 month using my savings. I'm not going to go into how much my balances are or how much is in my savings because that's none yet effing business, but that's how I do it. That way I can maintain a healthy credit score while at the same time never have to worry about going into debt. Look at that. Assault blockchain-backed loan. Gotta love these Brave notifications. So, yeah. Bitcoin, its maturation fueled by growing acceptance of digital currencies, the ability to trade futures, and a steady decline in volatility should keep it tilted towards price appreciation. At the same time, we should see a level because the United States printed a lot of money for the coronavirus pandemic to help stave off the worst effects of it. Well, that leads to inflation, more money, and Bitcoin is set. We know exactly how much we're going to get. We know exactly when the timeline is. No one person or entity can create more versus the Fed in the United States or its equivalent in the European Union and other countries can make the money printer, quote, go brrr. So, yeah. Oh man, their bullish view on Bitcoin doesn't translate to other cryptocurrencies, though. Well, Ethereum, they see a little upside, which I kind of agree with. Ethereum's been delaying so many updates and so many different things that it is frustrating. But if they can get ETH 2.0 up and running here in the next few months, give us a concrete timeline on staking and sharding, I do think that Ethereum could get back to its all-time high of around 1,400 or something and even surpass that. And then the fourth article and final article dealing with pure Bitcoin today, also published by this Joseph Young guy over at Cointelegraph, big Bitcoin fan. It postulates the question, what would it mean to sustain Bitcoin price at $100,000? Because that's the goal. People, in their wildest dreams, want $100,000 this year. Now, I don't think we'll get to a stable Bitcoin price of $100,000 this year, but in the long term, I think it can happen. But according to him, miners can generate up to about 900 Bitcoin every day post-2020 half. So if the Bitcoin price is 100,000 times 900, $90 million US dollars. And given that miners typically sell what they mine on a regular basis, the assumption is that the selling pressure on Bitcoin could reach that full amount because ByteTree shows miners sold all Bitcoin they mined in the past week to cover their operational costs. Now, I think they're doing that because Bitcoin is at the price that they can maintain their stuff. But if you're a miner, to make money, you don't want to sell all your Bitcoin. If you have to, you will. So honestly, I do feel that if Bitcoin hits $100,000, as long as the costs of operating one of these miners remains relatively fixed, if they're selling everything at $10,000, they're probably going to be holding on to $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of their Bitcoin that they mine per the 100,000. So they'd probably hold on to half, sell the other half. So that could possibly reduce the selling pressure. But at 100K per Bitcoin, the market would have to absorb that supply up to 90 million. Probably less, my opinion. But assuming there are 10 million people worldwide buying Bitcoin on a regular basis, it would cost them each $9 a day. But, met people who spend more than $9 on coffee. I'm drinking coffee right now, perfectly good. Bought it from the local Meijer. No big deal. Can spend $3 getting it hot. I brew it home because at that point the costs are way, way cheaper. But that's the thing. This 10 million people, if Bitcoin goes to $100,000, there's going to be way, way more than 10 million people buying Bitcoin on a regular basis. We can get to $100,000. Bitcoin's going to have over a $2 trillion market cap. Whew. At that point, people are going to be lining up. We're going to get back to the point where your friends, your families, relatives, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? How can I get in? How can I get in? How can I buy this? How can I buy that? Send them to Coinbase, Crypto.com, Changely, any of those sites where you can buy from fiat and get them off your back and get them buying Bitcoin. Because at that point, it's going to be considered a really, really good alternative. All right, moving on. Russia kind of, sort of dropped the hammer on cryptocurrency. Yeah, kind of. So, Russia's state Duma, I believe that'd be equivalent of the Parliament, House of Reps, hates Bitcoin. So, they posted an updated version of their new draft law on digital financial assets on Monday for the public to comment on. Now, I don't have the highest opinion of Russia's government's ability to listen to their population, but, hey, whatever little bit helps. So they published it along with additional documents that significantly change the way cryptocurrency is regulated, will be regulated. Breaking the rules comes with legal penalties, but the good news is Russia's citizens don't have to give up on their fixation with the cryptocurrency space. It's not really a major shift from the Kremlin, but they're in a gray zone. People who own 1 or 2 Bitcoin aren't at risk, but all cryptocurrency exchanges and wallets hosted on Russia sites with .ru at end are now at risk. So they can still own their digital financial assets legally. They're not doing that. All this is, and it's happening in governments and countries around the world, they're trying to figure out how to regulate this stuff and how to get their quote-unquote cut in taxes. Now, a lot of people hate taxes. I don't like them, but to me they're a sliding scale. The more you give the government, the more benefits you will get. In your European countries, you have a lot higher taxes, but public universities are steeply discounted or free depending on your grades. Varies by country, to my understanding. Healthcare is covered by the state, which as an American citizen, totally jealous. One of the main reasons my parents are still working full-time is because they need health insurance. They have enough money to retire right now, but they can't retire and pay for health insurance prior to age 65 when they can finally get Medicare. And that stinks. My dad is out there, my mom is out there in the workforce taking up positions that someone younger who's working 2 part-time jobs would love to have because they could get benefits and they could start building their careers. My parents are sitting there taking up space till they turn 65 and they can get Medicare and they can retire. But if they could buy into Medicare right now, the costs for them would be low enough that they could retire and still maintain the lifestyle and then start getting Social Security at 65. But since that Medicare option doesn't exist, it would cost my parents almost $2,000 a month to get their COBRA benefits, which to me is insane, but they both have type 2 diabetes due to age. They're maintaining themselves very well. My mother just checks her blood pressure every day. She doesn't have to do insulin every day because of the weight maintaining. And I'm getting very off topic here. So, reeling it back in, there will be no digital currency platforms operating in the territory of Russia, meaning no exchanges. Oof, rough. But The law seems to be concerned with tokens. They'll get regulated and most likely to be adopted as private securities one day. And that seems to be the trend things are going. So, bam. To newcomers to the crypto space, it's worth noting there are distinguished differences between Bitcoin and other digital assets issued by and a tech company that issues its own token. Bam. The market in Russia is developing steadily now, says Kliakov. The attitude of Russian regulators is that cryptocurrencies are not allowed, and financial assets based on blockchain technology are going to be subject to regulation, but blockchain technology itself is still a go. And I think that's the attitude of most of the world. So yeah, moving on. Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin talking about how crypto must expand beyond the world of finance. I like Buterin. He's a human being, made a lot of mistakes, and he's gotten very lucky. But I can tell he's the type of person that had he not gotten involved in the cryptocurrency space, he still would be a high-level researcher or scientist somewhere. The kid is obviously brilliant. And as such, I give his opinion strong consideration when I'm researching things that I want to do and pursue in the cryptocurrency space. Not everyone in the space gets that same level of respect from me. Sometimes you just got lucky. You're not special. You're not crazy. You're not a genius. You got lucky. Buterin got lucky, but he was also good. So he reached out, he's got close to 1 million followers on Twitter, and I do like this. Bitcoin was born out of a crisis that was fundamentally financial in nature. Either the banks misbehaved or the government under misregulated the finance sector, or they bailed out too many banks or they printed too many dollars. Bitcoin itself is primarily a financial tool. Ethereum is explicitly less financial in nature, but even there, it remains a fact that the large fraction of applications that a blockchain legitimately makes better involve handling coins, token, money in some form. 2020 is first and foremost not a financial crisis, it's a virus crisis. It's a crisis of epistemology, how we learn what's true and what's false in the face of competing groups attempting to mislead us. Yes, the money printer did go burr. That's relatively a small portion of what is going on. Even there, inflation is still going down, not up. Cryptocurrencies ended up being very much correlated to wider economic trends. Doesn't mean they don't protect from other things, ergo political barriers and interference, but it does mean that the narratives need to adjust. Finance is relatively less important in this decade than it was in the last decade, and the crypto space needs to adjust to this reality. So, financial censorship, especially the insidious second-order variety where intermediaries get quietly pushed to extrajudiciary block use cases that are perfectly legal, continues to be a problem for many marginalized groups, and crypto can help. That is one thing that I love about this space. I can send money to a person in a different nation, and there's no foreign transaction fees, there's no craziness, there's no time delay. People around the world have freaked out about the idea of a one world currency. Cryptocurrencies enable this while still letting each individual government have their own. But we do need to shift the focus from crypto from just being finance to being decentralized governance and organization and community is needed and is happening. After all, public goods and community are incredibly important even to the crypto space itself. Crypto, he's right. Last decade, mortgage crisis of 2008 that utterly wrecked things for many Americans is what birthed Bitcoin. The continued evolution of cryptocurrencies is about making things decentralized, taking the power away from singular institutions and giving it back to the little guy. And it's very interesting to me to have watched the evolution of our society over the few centuries towards bigger and bigger and more centralized and more centralized. And now with crypto, the focus can kind of shift back to the local places. And I think that's really cool about this space. And I fully, wholeheartedly agree with Vitalik that we need to push. Old ideologies and coalitions are dying and new ones are being born. The crypto space needs to be watching carefully to adjust. And I think we'll start seeing tokens and coins to that effect. But, speaking of centralized, China. Oh, everyone's favorite totalitarian communist regime. Trump's best buds. So, they're trying to establish a digital currency. Bam. China's digital cash is designed to be an electronic version of a banknote or a coin. It just lives in a digital wallet on a smartphone. It would be backed by the state, but virtual cash would be quicker and easier to use than the paper kind. It would also offer China's authorities a degree of control never possible with physical money. That is very true. If I want to give you $20 and I hand you a $20 bill, no one else is going to know about that. Unless people start telling. Cash things are still a thing. I know darn well here in the States, I've worked for many businesses that would give me bonuses under the table because they wouldn't be taxed. Or if someone paid in cash, they just wouldn't charge them tax and then not report that sale to the government and just pocket the cash. People do that all the time. Governments hate that because they don't get their percentage. So, these centralized digital currencies are going to keep happening. So, now they've begun a pilot program for this, and the likelihood of a bigger test at the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022, oh, I hope so. Well, it would be a centralized currency that they're developing. It would also increase the knowledge in people's minds of the cryptocurrency space, which I think would be huge for us. So, started small in April, roll out in 4 cities. Ooh, a new smart city in the making, southwest of Beijing. Conceived by President Winnie the Pooh himself. Local media have reported that some of the money was distributed in the form of transport subsidies paid to individuals in Suzhou. It's really, really interesting because how China's developed could show us how a possible rollout in the United States might look. It's years away, but it's triggered concern about a new threat to U.S. financial dominance. The digital version of renminbi, as China's currency is officially known, could eventually allow Iran and others to more easily evade U.S. sanctions. Yeah, that's one of the major concerns with governments and cryptocurrencies. So even if it takes off, it's still unclear. Would it be allowed to move across borders? China would probably allow it. There's an argument for keeping it contained in the country, but if they want to challenge the US dollar, they need to make it a global thing. So, it will also allow China to track all these transactions. And more importantly to China, it would prevent the United States from seeing them. More than 80% of smartphone users in China regularly pay for transactions on their devices, the highest rate in the world. So yeah, China is the perfect launching pad. Personally, I got an Android phone. Wife's got an Apple. I use Google Pay. She uses Apple Pay. Works great. Love it. Once that gets configured, then I can spend crypto with it? I might. I'm a holder, though. I really am. So, this is a story that you can expect to pop up on this channel a few more times because it's going to be huge in the coming months and years as we watch how this rolls out. So, $1.4 billion in crypto were stolen in the first 5 months of 2020. Know this. Be aware of it. If you have crypto in a private wallet, make sure there's a very long and complex password on it. Enable two-factor authentication or get yourself a Google Authenticator app or something of the like. Store your private keys safely and securely. Sorry about that. My Google Home decided to be a pain in my butt, so I'm going to try to edit that out. So, researchers say 2020 is on track to become a record-breaking year for cryptocurrencies. Makes sense to me. Poor guys. So, store your things safely. Please, 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 please. The 1.36 billion stolen so far this year, 98% of the total value was accounted for by fraud and misappropriation rather than by hacks and direct thefts. Keep an eye on that. Scams, people. They will email everyone. I've gotten the email. My password was hacked. They recorded me on my webcam watching adult videos, and they're going to send it to everyone on my contacts list if I don't send them a Bitcoin. It goes around a lot. I got like 4 of them. And ignore them. No one's got that. I don't even have a webcam. So they can go screw themselves. But just be aware. They are out there. They're trying to hack you. They're trying to scam you. Be aware. If you get a text message from a number you don't recognize, don't respond. Especially if it includes a link. Alrighty. I was interested in this. 2 Swiss banks launch cryptocurrency trading and custody after getting regulatory approval. Yes. Big banks getting into things. The bigger the banks, it's one of those things. We really don't want these large financial institutions to become the driving force. I want the decentralized finance exchanges. I want those to succeed. But currently, they're not easy to use. This type of thing, these banks getting into things, enables them to create customer-facing applications and platforms that make it easier to buy, sell, and trade. And then as those are developed, we can take those things that they've created, refine them, and move them to the decentralized exchanges where ideally crypto can flourish into the 2030s and beyond. So, but they've been authorized by this FINMA group. So, FINMA. This is good. It's movement. It's a creation of a new way of doing things, and it is so exciting to watch. Switzerland has been very friendly to the crypto space. I believe they have, a bunch of different incentives. They have like a devoted, what they call a quote-unquote sandbox where developers can come and like figure things out in the crypto space. It's really cool. Alrighty, and last on our top 10 today, I'm going to be very honest. I own a decent chunk of this coin, so I'm a little biased when I talk about it. Not gonna lie. And it is Cardano. Just clipped into the top 10. Cardano has had an amazing week. It went from like 5-ish cents to almost, it clipped 9 a few times. It's amazing. So, it just moved in the top 10, unseating Tezos as the 10th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. It went from, Tezos is 2.1 billion, I believe. Cardano is now 2.2. But it's coming after the Cardano creator and head of IOHK, or Input Output Hong Kong, announced the release of an upcoming upgrade dubbed Shelly, slated between June 30th and July 7th. So, June 9th is when the first update that begins to build the bridge to the Shelly era of Cardano is releasing, with it finalizing on the 30th. There'll be another upgrade on the 7th, and then in August, you'll be able to stake. So, Shelly is expected to transform Cardano into a fully decentralized proof-of-stake network. So, users who maintain the network can earn ADA, Cardano's native cryptocurrency by holding large amounts of it in a process known as staking. If you own ADA and you have either the Iori or the Daedalus wallets, you can contribute whatever you have to a staking pool and get a cut of the returns on that without the cryptocurrency ADA ever leaving your wallet. And that is the coolest part, in my opinion. I don't have to do anything crazy. Ooh, Nexo. Look into Nexo if you haven't already. I do own some of that. It's an interesting little project that they're doing, similar to Salt. But yeah, no. I'm actually participating in the testnet. I'm not actually actively, but I do support one of the pools because, one, I'm very interested in this cryptocurrency, and two, I'm actually earning real ADA that I can then apply to my balance on the mainnet at some point. They're still working out the things on that, and the testnet is closing soon, so if you aren't already in it, you might have missed the boat on that. But I will tell you, my staking rewards on the testnet have been right around 10%, which is fantastic. So, after trading around 6.5 cents on the 29th, it's at 0.088. I saw clip 9 a few times. Whew. And it's sitting at 2.3 billion Tezos, which also allows staking. Obviously, do your research. Don't just invest in anything that I've told you about, but I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you don't own ADA, you start reading up on it. I do personally think it's going to be very big. Alrighty, well, that was the top 10. I do have one more article for you that I found that made me chuckle. So, bonus, a U.S. owner sues buyer who wanted to pay in a quote-unquote worthless cryptocurrency. So the lawsuit came from a California psychologist, this Mary Shea, and they're suing the buyer because this Mike Cherwenka guy wants to purchase Shea's property with 30% of its value in a cryptocurrency known as tryoptions.gold. Now, I had to look up tryoptions because I had no idea what it was. So I went to the tryoptions website, and this is what I got. I busted out laughing. It's on the Tron network, which fine. That's fine. You can be on Tron. But it looks like an early 2000s Trump website. It just made me laugh. So I kind of looked and tryoptions. It's this real vague, oh, we can do this, oh, we can do this. They're mined with the mind. And all this stuff. But I then did look up. Apparently, tryoptions.gold is worth about $260. There's not very many of them. What's that, 180 million? So that's probably why. It does not have a good rating. There's not a lot. It was so funny. So due to the dispute, the seller can't sell it right now. But Cherwenka still wants to buy it. So she tried suing this Best Buy Homes place, but the point is the buyer was saying they wanted to pay for it in cash, but then tried to make the final contract so they could pay in this cryptocurrency, which Shea doesn't want. The deal was to sell the home for $125K, which I hope that house is in California. That's probably a one-bedroom, 400-square-foot thing up in the Rockies or something like that. He threatened to sue her when she brought it to his attention, and Best Buy Homes did sue her after she refused to finalize. However, the company had no ground for the suit as the contract was on Cherwenka's name and not the firm's. Awesome. Now, this is something we're probably going to start seeing a lot more of as well. Alrighty, well, that was my first long and rambling top 10 video. Please, leave a comment. Let me know what I did well, what I need to improve on. Like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah, I do appreciate everyone who's watching and listening to this first video. I'm going to try to do these every week. Sunday seems like a good day to do them. And yeah, thanks. Have a great day.